Hi, everyone. Welcome to the How We Hustle podcast.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Tanya. And we invite you to join us in our unfiltered conversation about the real life hustle of being an entrepreneur. For more information about the podcast, check out howwehustlepodcast.com.
Make sure to check us out on Instagram at How We Hustle Podcast. You'll find information on new episodes as well as notable quotes from the episodes we do. So come check us out at How We Hustle Podcast on Instagram.
Tanya, I want to know if content marketing is actually bullshit. I know that in every marketing circle, like the term content marketing is very prevalent, but I've started to really audit my own behaviors and audit what I've done in the past and what I'm like planning on doing in the future. And I think that I'm going to be way more discerning with how I do content marketing. And I guess let's talk about is there a point to it? What is content marketing and how should we do it? And what used to work, what didn't used to work, and what is going to work in the future. So do I think that content marketing is bullshit? There's really no answer to that. We have to really sort of talk about what I mean. And I think that I'm definitely guilty of this, but just putting out content without a real strategy behind it, whether it's like posts or just throwing up, an article and sharing it. And I think without like a defined strategy behind it, and I think what I mean by strategy is without using content to direct people into a very, a very well put together funnel, then yeah, I think content marketing is bullshit. I think that if you just put out posts and articles without a real plan on how to monetize that traffic or the people that are going to see it, then really you're just turning off the lights, shooting a gun, and hoping that maybe you'll hit something, And if that's your approach, you can certainly hit something, but the amount of time that you're spending in the process really, I don't think is worth it. So I am starting to, I'm going to keep doing content marketing, but I'm going to be much more strategic about it and really for one purpose, that is to bring people into my funnel. I'm not doing it anymore in the hopes that, somebody will just happen upon it. That person will be like, oh yeah, that's great. I'm going to call him and I'm going to, pay high ticket for that. So I've really changed my perception of content marketing and how I am going to use it.
Well, I don't think that it ever really works. It might work once in a while, but I don't think it really ever works if you're just hoping for the best.
I think maybe it used to work. It's 2018 now. I think maybe in 2013 it worked a lot differently, but now it's different,
Mm-hmm. What way do you think it's different?
I just think the internet and marketing has evolved, and I think that when some of these platforms were in a little more of their infancy, you could just put content out there and connect and resonate with people, and it would work. Even like on Facebook's, they've really tightened up the way Facebook works so that, you can't just mindlessly put content out there anymore and hope that it's going to get traction and bring you sales.
I think that it's more about one, video, and two, engagement. So I think it has to be things that are going to catch people's attention. It has to be showing you or who you are, being more real rather than very fake and produced and, over contrived. I think that people really resonate with real and they like to see people's faces. So if you're putting out videos and if you're not just posting random things every day, that it actually has a purpose. It's going to help somebody. It's going to create some engagement in the sense of maybe it's controversial or maybe it has people asking questions or saying me too or things like that. That's going to get people to take action rather than just for them to read it. I also think that even if you're putting stuff out for people to read, that's great and all, but you likely won't know if they read it because it didn't ask them to do anything about it.
I think part of it is that something that I've realized is that followers and likes are not customers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I've been growing my I'll put out content maybe as an example on Instagram, and I'll get someone message me and I'll, book a call, but those calls are not qualified. And I'm just, once again, just like wasting time. So I guess.
Okay, well, number one, Michael, you should definitely still qualify them. So even if it is a conversation over Instagram, I would say still put them through those questions before you ever get on the phone with them. I don't get on the phone with anybody who hasn't qualified, who hasn't answered those questions before they get on the phone with me. Even if it is through Instagram, even if it is that they didn't answer a questionnaire, they still have to qualify for a call with me.
I guess the question I'm asking is, why should I, like, content marketing, even if it's making one post a day on Instagram, which I do not do because, like, it's a lot of work, right? And that's the point. Content marketing is a lot of work. And is it worth it if really you can just use paid ads to put people into your funnel, sort of, automated? It's like, is it worth it? Is it worth it to like stress out and put hours into content when you can just do paid ads instead and not have to worry about any of that?
Okay, good question. However, there are two sides of that. Like, yes, of course you can do paid ads. And yes, of course it's much easier with paid ads.
Like, I'd rather just turn a switch on and do zero content marketing and just have leads come into my funnel.
Okay, but number one, content marketing works a lot better when you have some social proof as to who you are. If you were doing an ad for something that has no followers, no likes, no anything, then it's going to look a little bit more strange. Like, it'll look stranger. Plus, like, you have to put an Instagram page, you have to put a Facebook business page with your ad. So no, not everyone is going to click through to see who, if anybody has liked that page or who that page is, but some people will. And it is like there is a purpose in having some of your leads come from non-paid ads. Like, yes, they're going to be very qualified, very strategic, but you can also like lower your ad cost by having some people come in that are not from paid ads. So if you're putting your face out, if you're getting in front of them in other things other than just ads, if on their regular feed, in their videos, in their Instagram stories, in their YouTube videos, in their podcasts, like, they're getting your content from every angle, so they can't forget about you. In your emails, like, if you're getting emails and Instagrams and Facebooks and podcasts and videos all from the same person, you're going to keep them top of mind. Also, your ad is not the only one touch point for them. So they might come into your ecosystem through an ad, but if they don't see your face ever again, then they're going to quickly forget about you. So once they do see your ad, for example, like when I do a video, I have a video views ad that goes to people who have already become my warm audience. So people that are not cold leads, but are actually my warm audience, are still seeing my content again, because you want to stay top of mind. So you need to be sending out emails, you need to be posting, you need to be doing more ads also to your warm audience, so that you're the first person that they think of when they think about writing a book.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I'm not trying to say that content marketing as a whole is no good, but I'm just saying that I think that you really need to use like you have to have a strategy behind it. Like, we're doing a podcast right now. This is content marketing. Mm-hmm. I'm selling book packages to entrepreneurs. Like, that's content marketing, but there's sort of a defined strategy behind it. And I think that if you're doing content marketing by just throwing stuff out there and hoping that some will stick,
that's not going to work. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think,
it's exhausting.
And that's sort of something that I'm coming to realize is what the bullshit is. It's like, and I've taken a much more like strategic approach to my content marketing now. It's like everything I do is pointing people in one direction, as opposed to sort of just doing it for the sake of doing it. And that's something I was doing maybe because I didn't really know what else to do. So I was just busying myself because it feels good. But
well, also keep in mind that you didn't always have a strategic system. So if you don't have a strategic system, in the meantime, you're going to be putting out stuff where you're like, where am I supposed to be sending these people? What should I be talking about? But when you've built a system, you've done the research, you know what people want, you know what you need to be talking about. You know where to send them for their next step. So I think that if you have that system, and if you don't, then you need to start working on the system. But if you have that, then it's easy to be like, oh, I'm funneling everybody to my free download or my free course or my free Facebook group or my free podcast or my free whatever you're giving away to get on your email list or this video or this challenge, whatever you're funneling them to, because you have somewhere to put them. But until you have created that strategic system of, well, who am I speaking to? What do I need to tell them? What do they need to know? It becomes very disconnected, disjointed, because everyone's like, oh, well, I don't know, like, what should I be doing? So if your content is like whatever you feel like in the moment, and it has no purpose, it has no next step, it has no reason for you to send people there, then your content is going to come up, and always it's going to be really time consuming and frustrating and exhausting to create because you don't have anywhere or any subject or purpose or anything for it. So it's always random. But if you have a strategic way of connecting with people about speaking about a topic and where to send them, then your content becomes a lot easier to create and then also reuse. Because it's not always about coming up with brand new content every single day. Not every single person will have seen your content every single time. So it's also about like repurposing the content that you've already created and freshening it up to use again and send that message out yet again. Because like even today, how many times have I talked about the Facebook pixel on this podcast, in my videos, like in my emails, in my marketing? But still I meet people every day that don't know what a Facebook pixel is.
So how effective is Instagram for you? You put a lot of effort into that, way more than me. And I have no doubt that it works well for you. So how does the time expenditure, like, is the juice worth the squeeze is what I'm asking you.
Okay. So one of the things I ask myself is like, if it helps me get one client, will it be worth it? And I know that like Instagram is my platform. It's my platform of choice in terms of what I like, but it's also where my dream clients are hanging out. So if I know that my dream clients are over there, I want to make sure that I'm getting visible on that platform. So if my dream clients were, for example, like listening to podcasts, which they are, so that's why we do a podcast, right? So getting in front of your dream clients, like, are your dream clients scrolling through Instagram? Like maybe your dream clients are not. Maybe they're on LinkedIn. Maybe they're searching Google. So maybe Google AdWords is where they are, right? Like, it depends on where your dream clients are in order for you to decide. But for me, yes, putting out a post once a day and writing a little caption, yes, it takes me probably about anywhere from like 10 to 30 minutes every single day to do it. But I have a lot of content to help me, like to refresh. Like I have almost 500, actually I have more than 500 posts because some of them have been archived. So I can take some of that content and kind of refresh it and reuse it with a different graphic. And I also I have a lot of tools that help me. So for example, I use some apps that allow me, to schedule things like preview or later, help you schedule and plan your Instagram. So what you want it to look like, the posts. It also helps me create hashtags. So I don't have to come up with the hashtags every single time. I already have like groups of them, or like the app will actually tell me which hashtags to use. So that like really cuts out a lot of the time. You can schedule it, you can write it in advance, you can post it in advance, you can have the app help you figure out which hashtags to use. So that's really something that has helped me. Like, does it always come off really easily? Like, no. I usually have a bunch of graphics already made. Like I used to do that on Sundays. Now I pretty much have like 30 graphics on my phone to use, already like in the order that I want to post them. And then I just add a caption, paste in the hashtags, and like done. So I personally find it to be very effective. I just post once per day. I don't stress myself out about posting all the time. I post once per day. I post on Instagram stories, and half the time it's mostly just the post that I put on my feed that is on my Instagram stories. Like if I can think about videotaping my day, like I do, but I don't spend a lot of time doing that. One, because video makes me feel a little bit awkward. And two, because I just am not one of those people who's attached to their phone, as we all know. Whoever is really good friends with me will know I'm not very good with my phone. I half the time don't know where it is. So, I just don't usually videotape what I'm doing. But I mean, if you can do that regularly once a day, you're going to easily build a following. And like, even if I don't post one day, I get messages saying, oh, I saw that you didn't post today. Is everything okay? Like, I look forward to your messages every day. So even when you think that people are not looking, they are. And like, even if you have 100 people, if those 100 people are not your current clients, then those are 100 people that are following you for a reason. They like your content. They will be your client one day. So I think it's like, yeah, it takes some time, but a lot of my clients will plan out what they write on Sundays, put it into the app, schedule it, done. That's what I do on our How We Hustle podcast Instagram. Like, I schedule all of the posts in advance and just have them automatically be released onto our app, onto our page. So I think that if you're using some of those things, it is worth it. And I think, like, I just got off of a conversation just a couple of minutes ago where I was talking to a girl that found me on Instagram from Toronto, and like, literally she booked a call with me and I'm speaking to her in 2 days. She's like, I kind of want to join one of your programs or work with you one-on-one. And I just chatted with her about what's possible, what that would look like. And we're going to speak to each other in 2 days. So, I mean, is it worth it? I think it is, because I get a lot of clients from Instagram.
So, all right. That's motivating for me. I've said that many times that I know that I should do Instagram once a day. Before the call, I said to you that I'm thinking about, on the whole topic of content marketing being bullshit. I was like, I'm kind of thinking about just like deleting my Instagram because it's too much work.
But like, if it's too much work for you, that's fine. But like, then hire someone. Like, then set up a system to like automate it. Then like set it up in advance. Like, for our How We Hustle podcast Instagram, I have just like the episode descriptions going. Like, it's not like I have to write something new every time. I'm just recycling, like, oh, have you seen this episode? This is what it's about. This is what you'll hear. Done. This is how you can listen.
So I guess the point is that there's like, content marketing is there's ways. There's just ways to do it that work. So if it's not working for you, just do it a different way. If it's taking up too much time, then
ask for help. Hire someone to do it. There are tons of people out there that will do it for you.
And just because if it's not working, just switch it up, but don't just write it off completely.
Yeah, like, I don't think that you have to be on every platform. I think it's about looking at what platforms are my dream clients on. Mike, you have a bunch of clients. Ask your clients, what's their number one social platform? Which platform do they use the most? Or where are they? Where do they hang out online? Is it on YouTube? Is it on Facebook? Is it in Facebook groups? Is it on Instagram? Do they watch Instagram stories? Do they hang out on LinkedIn? Do they watch lots of videos on YouTube? And like, start there. Like, instead of just assuming that your dream clients are on Instagram, like, for probably the past year, maybe more, my number one question when I get on the phone with people is, how did you find me? And I would say 90 to 95% of the time, they say Instagram. The other 5 to 10% of the time, they say, I don't know. So there's no other place where I know most of my people are coming from. So I would start asking, how did you find me? Where do you hang out the most? And that's a really good way to say, okay, this is what I need to prioritize. This is the platform that I need to prioritize on, and start there. So maybe it's email, maybe it's YouTube, wherever it is, start by focusing and regularly posting on that platform. And then ask again if there's a second platform, and then go there. If your people are not on there, don't worry about it. I think it's about choosing the content marketing that's going to work best for your clients and your business, and not doing everything.
And that's a wrap on another episode of How We Hustle. For more information, check out howwehustlepodcast.com.